This podcast was created on Messy. Create your own show today at messy.fm.
Welcome to the Two Jocks and the Accountant podcast. Thank you for tuning in for the first ever installment. My name is Alex Pittman. I'm joined alongside my friends Bailey Biddle and Jacob Hall. We're going to be talking all things SEC football today, as well as a larger college football landscape, NFC and AFC predictions, and then also going to hit up some Titans at the very end. So we are really excited to get started today. Thank you for tuning in. We'll go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to start with Jacob on what he thinks is going to happen in the SEC East this year.
So the SEC East, it's not very hard. Georgia, the best team, got the most talent. I see them going 12-0 this year. I really don't see anybody beating them. You got a couple tough games on the schedule like Auburn, but I don't see them losing to Auburn 2 years in a row, especially in Sanford Stadium in Athens. So I think they run the table this year and they compete for the playoff spot in the SEC championship game with, I believe, Alabama on the other side in the West.
That's original.
Yep. I'm going to have to agree. Georgia is a number one in the East, a favorite. I have them going 11-1. Maybe losing to South Carolina week 2 can be a swing game. They play Auburn, later in the season. So that could be a swing game. Watch out for that one as well. But other than that, at LSU, something you can look to. But they play Vandy, Tennessee, Missouri, Middle Tennessee, Austin Peay, Kentucky, UMass, and Georgia Tech. I just don't think you have to worry about that with the talent Georgia has. I think Jake Fromm's going to have a better year, and DeAndre Swift at running back. Even with Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, he had 7.8 yards per touch last season, so I think he's in for a big year. So I think second in the East is South Carolina at 9-3. I think Will Muschamp's offense can get there with the up-tempo. 3, the Gators at 7-5. 4, Missouri at 6-6 with Drew Lock. 5, Tennessee Vols with Jamie Pruitt.
There we go.
6, like Kentucky. And last in the ACC East, Vandy. Poor Derek Mason. They just want a new stadium. That's all they want.
So I'm a little different on my prediction. I got the Florida Gators I have them second in the East at a 9-3 record. The big storyline for them right now is their quarterback play. That's been a big thing ever since really Tim Tebow, and they had a little bit of success with Will Grier under Jim McElwain for a minute there. But yeah, Kyle Trask, Felipe Franks, and Emory Jones are the 3 top guys there. I think it's going to be a battle going up to the first game against Charleston Southern, but right now...
Do you really think that game will be a battle?
No. I don't think it's going to be a battle. I was talking more of the quarterback battle, but, that's a thing to look out for as well as their change from a 4-3 to a 3-4 defense.
Yeah, that definitely.
You think Kadarius Toney's going to have a big year?
I think Kadarius Toney's a great athlete. I just don't know of how great of a receiver he is. And also his off the field issues are quite the thing right there. So, also with receivers, I would more look towards Trayvon Grimes and Van Jefferson. I think those 2 transfers are going to make a big difference now that they're eligible. The NCAA ruled them eligible, so I look for them and as well as Tyree Cleveland.
I like it. Now I think Florida does play at Georgia.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
they play South Carolina on November 10th. At Florida State, I think they'll win that game.
I think Florida State rebounds this year.
You think?
You do? Under Willie Taggart? Mm-hmm. I'm not sold on Willie Taggart. I think
they'll be all right. And you got to remember, it's in Tallahassee.
That's true.
It's quite the environment.
It'll be probably a night game in Tallahassee. That's a real tough environment, like you said. But
watch out, week 1, Charleston Southern.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Oh, yeah.
Watch out.
It's going to be a battle.
At Mississippi State, that could be interesting.
That could be
big fan of Mississippi State.
That game. I think Mississippi State's going to be really good this year with Joe Moorhead. But
yep.
Yeah.
I think let's look at South Carolina's schedule. They play Georgia week 2, Texas A&M. That might be a really good game. I think Jimbo's going to have a good year.
I do too.
Tennessee, I don't think they're going to be that bad this year.
No, they'll be bad. I'm a Tennessee fan.
Yeah, I just don't think they have enough guys. I mean,
Yeah.
You got to give Jeremy Pruitt time to
Yeah.
get his
Oh, yeah,
guys in there. I
definitely.
mean, he assembled a great staff, really top guys in the country. I think they'll recruit well like they already have.
Champions of life.
That's right.
I got-
5-star hearts. That's
Yeah,
what we're
5-star
looking for.
hearts, but
No.
I think they're going to turn 5-star hearts into 5-star players real quick in Knoxville. So.
Yeah, it's the thing about me. I've got South Carolina finishing second in the East, and because honestly, I see after that week 2 game at Georgia, I think it's a pretty easy schedule. Honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
Texas A&M is a good.
Yeah.
They're going to be good this year, but I still think they have them at home. It's sandwiched in between Missouri and Tennessee. I think that they've got a good chance if they get hot and they can stay healthy. I think that they could easily become second in the East.
Yeah, then play Clemson the last game.
Yeah,
I think
that's a
Clemson
tough. That's
yeah.
may be a
But
blowout.
see,
Maybe
for
blowout.
SEC implications, that
Yeah,
doesn't
it has
matter. I mean,
nothing to do with it.
They'll take a loss on their record for that.
Also, you're breaking in a new offensive coordinator in Brian McClendon. Just another thing. Will Muschamp has always changed coordinators frequently from his time back at Florida to now at South Carolina because last year he had Kurt Roper. So just another thing to look out for. I think they have a good year. Jake Bentley's a really good quarterback, and they also have Debo Samuel back.
Yeah.
He had 3 games last year. He had 250
Yeah.
yards
Yeah,
and
if
3
he can stay
touchdowns.
healthy,
Debo's-
he'll be the
Yeah, if he stays,
Debo's really good.
he's one of the best players in SEC in my opinion when he's healthy. So
Yeah, so let's take a look at Missouri's schedule. I have them going 6-6 with Drew Lock. Potentially the best quarterback in the East. What do you think?
I think last year he feasted on inferior competition.
I did. I think that Josh Heupel, his OC, I think that had a lot to do with their
you don't
successful offense last
believe
year.
in Derek Dooley.
I do not believe in Derek Dooley as the offensive coordinator of the
Give him
Missouri
Tyler
Tigers. I just don't. I think like you said, they feasted on some competition. They feasted on a very down Florida Gators last year with Randy Shannon as their head coach,
Yeah.
or the interim head coach after the Jim
Missouri-
McElwain debacle. So
Missouri's got a tough schedule. They play at Purdue. Purdue's going to be good this year.
Purdue. Jeff Brom, I
They
like what
play
he's doing up there.
Purdue, Georgia, South Carolina, and Alabama all in a row. So I think that can be scary. But then they have a little relief. They play Memphis, Kentucky, at Florida. I think Florida can beat them with that defense. Vandy, that's a win. Tennessee, at Tennessee, you never know. It's the SEC. Then Arkansas, I think
That's
they'll
going to be
beat.
a battle. That's the two
I think
worst
they'll
teams
beat
in the
Arkansas.
SEC.
Yeah,
Arkansas going
so-
to struggle this year.
So let's look at Tennessee's schedule. Tennessee Vols. They play at West Virginia. Will
That's-
Greer.
yeah,
I think they
that's-
lose that
that's gonna be
game.
bad.
I think that'll be a 2-3 touchdown type of
Yeah.
game.
Then the ETSU and UTEP.
That's a trap.
That's
trap
2
games.
losses. I'm just
I'm
kidding.
just
That's
kidding.
2 wins.
Hopefully we start out 2-1.
Yeah, I project y'all starting out 2-1, but then y'all got a really tough schedule after those. And then you got Florida,
we
Georgia,
always
Auburn,
do.
and Bama.
At Georgia, at Auburn versus Bama.
They got Florida at home though, so I mean, they
At
have
South Carolina. So it's a hard schedule for
I have them
Purdue's
going
first year.
5-7 this year.
I
I
have
mean,
them 5-7.
they'll
as
play.
well.
They'll play hard under Jeremy
I think
Pruitt.
they will too. We're really thin right now in a lot of positions, and we
Yeah.
don't know if we have a quarterback.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think we play a lot harder under Jeremy Pruitt than we did
Yeah.
ever under
Yeah,
Butch
under
Jones.
Butch.
And that I think that might steal us a win
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Kentucky schedule: Central Michigan, at Florida, Murray State, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Texas A&M. 3 games in a row. I think they lose. Vandy, Kentucky can beat Vandy, but Vandy might beat Kentucky. That's just whoever's playing the best that game. At Missouri, you never know. Georgia, that's a loss.
Yep.
At Tennessee, I think Tennessee will beat them. Middle Tennessee, that's a win. And at Louisville, I don't know about that game because they both stink.
I'm a little higher on Kentucky than my friends over here. I mean, I think this is not the year they're gonna. I think they'll win. I think they'll go 7-5. I mean, they're not the best team in the SEC, but I think Mark Stoops is changing the view of football over at Kentucky. It's not just a basketball school anymore. I think JUCO quarterback Terry Wilson, I think he'll win the job, and I think him handing the ball off to Benny Snell, who's one of the best
Benny
backs
Snell's
in the
really
SEC.
good. But my
He's
thing
a beast.
is, if you look at Kentucky's roster, they're too inexperienced for
Yeah.
the SEC, and
I
that
agree.
scares me.
Yep.
So that's my only concern. And they don't have a quarterback right now, but
Yeah.
they can get it. But just right now, just looking at preseason, I just don't like what I see in Kentucky.
Yeah, I just can't trust Kentucky as a football team.
Yeah, they're
It's
basketball
just-
school. But
Yeah.
they're changing
All right.
it.
The worst team in the East right now, we think, is Vanderbilt, and they play Middle Tennessee week 1. Nevada, Nevada could beat
If
them.
they lose to Nevada,
I don't
I
think
think
Kyle
Middle
Shermer
Tennessee
lets that
could
yeah,
happen.
Middleton, yeah,
They might give them a run. For
all
their
they
money.
want, yeah.
I don't know, man. I like Kyle Shermer, but if he was on a different team, you think he gets better media attention?
I do. I do. I mean, he's a good quarterback. I mean, he obviously grew up around the game with his dad, now the head coach up in New York.
Yeah, I
But
think Keyshawn Vaughn does really good this year. I think he's better than Ralph Webb.
I think he's a great player, and also he's got that local feel. He's a Pearl Cone graduate,
Yeah.
so I think he'll do big things this year. But I mean, you gotta lower the expectations a little bit. I mean, I think Derek Mason by the end of the season will be a hot seat candidate.
Yeah, I do
I-
too.
so,
Their
too.
schedules is too hard. At Notre Dame, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Ole Miss, and maybe I think Ole Miss can beat them. At Arkansas, at Missouri, at Kentucky versus Florida. I just think that Vandy finishes last, and Derek Mason
I
could
think Tennessee loses.
potentially get fired. So that's what I think.
Tennessee will beat them too.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, so that does it all for our SEC East preview. So we'll move on to the SEC West. Where do you guys think that shakes out?
Go ahead, Jacob.
All right, so once again, I have an undefeated team in the West. I think Alabama just too talented. I think Tua Tagovailoa will eventually win the job. One thing to look out for is how they'll replace 6 starters lost in the secondary. I think 2 candidates, a couple are Patrick Surtain. He's a highly touted
really
guy
good.
out of American
He'll be good
Heritage.
depth.
I mean, American Heritage is always producing top-tier talent. He was coached by his dad. They won a state championship last year. But also I think JUCO transfer Savion Smith will do well. And then Trayvon Diggs, who's going over from the offensive side of the ball to the defensive
Trayvon
side.
Diggs. He'll be a good corner. You know, I just have to say,
1, 2, 3.
Roll Tide.
Oh, my God.
Alabama is going 12-0, and I think that they're going to win the national championship.
Oh, my God.
That's not even a good prediction anymore. Like it's
So-
just we all come to expect it now.
So I think they're going to be the most athletic offense we've seen in the Saban era, just because of Tua and his ability to scramble. You got Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry Judy's a monster.
Damian Harris is a really good back that doesn't get a lot of attention just because of the community backfield with all the star players. Because even in a community backfield with Najee Harris and Bo Scarborough, he got 1,000 yards for 2 seasons. And so you still got Najee Harris. Josh Jacobs going to be healthy this year. Damian Harris will take the lead. Then the defense are secondary concerns, but I think Deontay Thomas and Patrick Surtain Jr. will be good because Saban is a DB coach at heart. You know, got Roquan Davis, Isaiah Buggs on the line.
Mhm.
Mac Wilson's going to take leadership of
Yep.
the defense. Dylan Moses coming back.
And you got Ben Davis, too. Ben Davis will be a good player, I think.
And then you got a veteran offensive line in Alabama, and that's always the bread and butter of Saban. So I think they'll be fine this year. They'll get to the college football playoffs, but
Do you think their offense changes under different coordinators? Because Brian Daboll left to go to the
yeah,
Bills.
Brian Daboll's not a good offensive
I
coordinator.
think Mike Locksley will be a lot better than
yeah, he's a
Daboll.
lot better.
I think Daboll benefited a lot from the talent more
Yep.
than his.
That's why
his
when we
schemes.
get to the Bills later, I will open the question. So then Alabama schedule got Louisville week 1 without Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, they'll win that
scary.
game.
And you got at Ole Miss versus A&M at home, at Arkansas versus Missouri at home, at Tennessee, at LSU. LSU always plays Alabama hard, so you never know.
Don't
that
forget
game.
the Raging Cajuns up there in Louisiana.
Yeah, that's right.
Billy Napier.
drunk. You know, Mississippi State, that could be a close game, but I think Alabama pulls it out. Then
Shoot, Citadel.
obviously Auburn at the end of the season, the Iron Bowl, but I think that Saban doesn't let Malzahn beat him 2 years in a row, so I just don't think that's
See, my thing with Alabama,
gonna
as good
happen.
as they always are, and they'll go to the playoffs, they'll win the SEC probably. They always seem to drop one SEC game. I mean, it just
Yeah.
proves how
Yeah.
tough the SEC is. I don't know which
Yeah.
one it's going to be. Maybe Mississippi State.
I think A&M could
maybe
be
maybe A&M
Jimbo,
on
baby.
early. But I think they drop at least
Saban
one
coaching tree. Yeah, I agree. So moving on to Auburn, I have them going 10-2, and their identity is in their D line and quarterback Jarrett Stidham. I think that Gus Malzahn always finds a running back no matter what he has. But I think Auburn's going to be good this year. They maybe Mississippi State could be second in the East or West. Sorry, I really struggled with that one. So I think Auburn is more experienced. So I think Deshaun Davis is going to be really good, and then receiver Ryan Davis. I think they'll be fine. Finish second or third in the West.
I like that. I think the third is more of a. I have them behind Mississippi State. I think they have a great year
Yeah.
this year. But
Yeah.
Jarrett Stidham, he's a really good player. I think he'll elevate his draft stock this year another thing to look out for is who's going to replace Kerryon Johnson and Cam Petway. I think Cam Martin and Devin Barrett, those are two guys to do that. Also, another storyline, who's going to back up Jarrett Stidham? That's another thing.
My thing with Auburn is I feel like
maybe.
they always seem to have a good year and then like an inconsistent year.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, if you remember like last year, as unwarranted as this might have been, Auburn was almost one loss away from firing Malzahn.
Yeah.
Last season, and then they got hot in November.
I'm not sold on
helped
Malzahn
out.
yet.
And so I think they have another down year, and they don't get as lucky. So I
agree.
think Mississippi State.
I mean,
goes
when they
to
won
second.
the national championship that one year, they had the crazy play against Georgia and the kick six against Alabama.
Yeah.
So it's just
they've
I
always
think
run
something
on luck.
you gotta look out for is Washington week 1.
Yeah.
I think that really
That
defines
determines
the college
trajectory of their
football
season.
playoffs if you think about it. Because Washington, if they win, they could very well go to the playoffs.
Luckily for both of those teams, though, it's early in the year, so
To
you
take a
can
loss.
you can get away with losing early in the year.
All right, Mississippi State.
Here we go.
Big fan.
Joe
of Mississippi
Moorhead.
State.
I like them a
I have
lot.
them going 9-3.
I have them going 10-2 this year. The only thing is Nick Fitzgerald. He had a pretty gruesome injury in their
Yeah.
Egg Bowl game
That was hard to
against
watch.
Ole Miss last year. I think if he's healthy, the sky's the limit for this team this year. I think their D line is very good.
Mm.
Jeffrey Simmons and Montez
Yep,
Sweat.
he's really
Those are
good.
very good players. Very good
What I
players.
like about Mississippi State is they have 17 returning starters. And
Mm-hmm.
in the SEC and college football, like experience is key, and coaching. I think Joe Moorhead is really good. They loved him up in Penn State as the OC, and their schedule. They don't have a tough schedule to start out, so they can kind of get the ball rolling and find a feel for the offense and find a rhythm because they play SF Austin, at Kansas State, Louisiana, at Kentucky, Florida.
That Florida game's going to
That
be
can
big.
be a really good game.
That Dan Mullen coming
Because
back.
then they play Florida, Auburn, at LSU, Texas A&M. That's a hard
That's-
four
if
games.
they can get through that
Which
with
is-
one loss in
yeah.
that little 4-game stretch,
I think
and then they might drop Alabama in
Yeah,
November.
yeah.
But, I mean, I
because
think
they're in
those-
Tuscaloosa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if they can
that's
get through
tough.
that 4-game stretch with one loss, they're looking really
Dude,
good.
watch out for the Egg Bowl this year at Ole Miss.
See, I'm
Ole
not
Miss.
high on.
I'm not
Ole Miss.
high on Ole Miss, dude.
Uh-huh.
They got no.
I know, but I think Ole
They got
Miss
no
plays
fight.
the Egg Bowl with intensity.
Yeah, I
They
mean
won't
they're
go
going to
to a
play the
ball
role
game,
of spoilers because
Yeah.
that's all they have this year.
Yeah.
Because they're banned
Yeah.
from bowl
AJ Brown's a
games,
good player.
Yeah, he is.
He is.
All right, let's go to A&M. Jimbo.
Jimbo Fisher, baby.
I loved it. I love the hire of Jimbo in Texas A&M.
So did they. They paid him what, $70 million?
Yeah.
Paid him a lot. It's a lot of money.
What's that? All the
They got it,
talent,
though.
all the talent someone had. He should have at least won the ACC, like at least one.
I feel like he was almost like a Butch Jones. of
Yeah, he
the West.
underachieved. I mean, Johnny Manziel got him to where he was.
And they had
at
Mike
A&M.
Evans too.
Mike Evans. They had a great player.
crazy.
And then where's he at? Arizona now.
Yeah, you're right. Then they got Northwestern State week 1. They got Clemson week 2.
That's a big game. If they can,
I think
I'm not saying they're going to
A&M
beat
can play 'em
Clemson,
hard.
but they can play him. They'll play
Clemson will
hard.
win.
I think Jimbo Fisher, he's a great recruiter. They're doing well in recruiting right now. I think they'll play well this season. The quarterback battle: Nick Starkel and Kellen Mond. Who you guys think wins that battle?
I don't know enough about
Yeah.
Texas A&M, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to make a prediction.
I mean,
I
think they'll be good.
I think they'll start out 2-2 because they
Yeah.
play Clemson and Alabama in that 4-game stretch. But then they got Arkansas, Kentucky, at South Carolina.
Yeah.
That could be a swing game. You never know
Yeah.
what's going to happen in that game. At Mississippi State, at Auburn, that's a tough 3-game stretch as well. But then they finish out with Ole Miss, UAB, and LSU.
Yeah.
I think A&M will
if
beat
they can
LSU.
finish out the year strong and build momentum going on to 2019 and beyond, I think they'll be set down in there.
Yeah, I
down
think
there.
they're a year away from really
A&M.
being good.
Moving on to everybody's favorite Cajun, Ed Orgeron.
I feel like
I
this is
have
his last
LSU
year.
finishing 7-5, but at the same time, like if you're LSU, you want to compete for national championships. You want to be in the SEC West race to finish at the top, and that's just not what you're going to get with that Orgeron. Because with his 3 seasons at Ole Miss, he was like 12-25. It's not a really great coach, but he fits the atmosphere down there, and that's what they loved about him. But I just don't think he's a coach that wins you the SEC. I just don't. Because go ahead.
I think he's a great coordinator.
Yeah.
I think he's a great D-line coach. I'm not sold on him as a head coach yet.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because he loves that job.
Yeah.
But the SEC is not about feelings, and that's
Yeah.
why
I
Saban's so good.
I do love Devin White, who led the SEC
Yeah,
in
Devin
tackles
White's
in
a really good player.
2017. Then they got Greedy Williams, who led the SEC with in interceptions as a freshman. Their defense is always good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
LSU's defense is
Yeah,
always
Dave
top
Aranda's a
notch.
really good coordinator.
It's never been the question.
Yeah,
You
but
think Miles Brennan's going to be good?
I don't think Miles Brennan will start.
You don't?
I think Joe
Wow.
Burrow will
Joe Burrow. That's true.
from
I
Ohio
like it.
State. I think
I
Joe
just
Burrow
want
will
to hear him
start.
say Burrow. Joe
Joe
Burrow.
Burrow. And another thing, offensive coordinator Steve Ensminger, new guy. They had Matt Canada, didn't really work out.
Yeah, too many emotions.
Yeah. Oh my lord. Go back in motion like 5 times.
They got a
Ridiculous.
hard schedule though. They play Miami week 1.
That
at
determines their
Auburn.
season.
Yeah.
If they lose that game, I think, and then they play Auburn 2 weeks later. If they lose those 2 games,
Yeah.
I think
Watch out.
it's gonna go
ESPN
downhill.
headlines. Ed
Just
Orgeron on
looking
the
at
hot
their
seat.
schedule right here, I'm looking at 6 potential losses.
Yeah,
Miami,
at
Yeah, I see
Florida.
7. I see
At
7.
Florida
Georgia
versus
State,
Georgia. Yeah,
Bama,
that's
and Texas
they got a
A&M. I
brutal
think
schedule
it's gonna
this
be
year.
tough.
So let's go to Arkansas. I have them going
See, I have Arkansas last. in the
5.
West.
I have them 5. I have Ole Miss and Arkansas 5 and 7. So I just kind of
Mhm.
put them in
Depends on
alphabetical order.
who wins that
So-
game at the end.
Yeah. So I have them. Chad Morris is getting good recruits, but at the same time, it's
I
like,
think he's a year away.
I
I
do.
think,
Yeah,
I think
I-
he is the guy for him. I like him.
I like
but
his. I mean,
you got to realize they're transitioning from a
Brett Bielema's.
system and his players. It could not be any different than
Yeah.
what
What-
Chad
yeah.
Morris wants.
So-
So that's going to be really.
I think it's more of 2 or 3 years of a way thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like you said, that scheme difference from the pro style to the spread and air it out a little bit. I think they'll be good. I think John Chavis will help improve the defense this year, but I just think they need to build momentum, like prove to recruits that they're going to improve and they're going to one day compete.
they got a brutal schedule.
Yeah, that's
Auburn,
that's a tough one.
A&M, Alabama, Ole Miss, 4 games in a row. Then LSU, Mississippi State, Missouri to finish off the season. It's just give
I
them
could see them
time.
going 0-8 in the SEC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give them time. They'll be good.
Yeah.
Last is Ole Miss. Ole Miss. I think they left Matt Luke with a dumpster fire right now, so he's got to give them time to fix all this stuff. But
I feel like they're capable of one big upset.
They always are.
Because, and especially now, because they're going to play.
Talented.
They're either, here's the thing, there's 2 mindsets. They're either going to come in this season as the role of the spoiler, because they don't really have anything else to lose. Like, they
Yeah.
can't go to the postseason or anything. So they're just going to be going out trying to take out anybody they play, or they're just going to kind of give up and have a really rough season. So I think they finished 6th in the conference ahead of Arkansas, because I
Yeah.
do think they'll steal a couple games just
yeah,
because they're the
I
spoiler.
agree. And I think that's going to be the A.J. Brown show.
AJ Brown show,
Yeah.
Jordantown
Yeah.
move. I think that's how you pronounce it. I think he'll play good this year. He's got AJ
Yeah.
Brown, like you said, to throw it to. He's got pretty good weapons. I mean, it's just tough to play under that bowl ban.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. So you want to do our college football playoff prediction?
Well, yeah, before we do that, just give me a quick overview again. Jacob, who do you have? Give me your SEC East standings, just 1 through 7. Give me your SEC West standings, 1 through 7.
all right. So my first
Just
SEC
real
East
quick.
standings: Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri, and Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my West, I got Alabama, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss, and then Arkansas.
Interesting. So I got in the East, Georgia, South Carolina, Go Gators. For
Gators,
3,
baby.
4 Missouri, 5 Tennessee, 6 Kentucky, and 7 the Vanderbilt Commodores. In the West, I got Bama number 1, Auburn 2, Mississippi State 3, A&M 4, LSU 5, Arkansas 6, and Ole Miss 7.
All right. So, yeah, we can move on to
College football playoff.
college football
predictions.
playoffs. So
Oh man.
let's get into it. So, I mean, jump in. Who do you guys think the four get in?
I think Clemson. I have Clemson as number 2 seed, but they could very well be the number 1 seed.
Agreed.
I have Bama number 1 versus number 4 Washington
Mhm.
if they win the game against Auburn, and that's big for them. And they got Clemson 2, Ohio State 3, then Bama versus Clemson for the national championship, and Alabama wins again. And my dark horses are Wisconsin, Jonathan Taylor in that offensive line. I think is going to be dominant, but I think they get to the Big Ten championship, but they do not beat Ohio State because Ohio State has too many athletes and they cannot guard them. This is what happened in last year's national champion, or not national champion, Big Ten championship. Michigan could make the playoffs very well.
Yep.
Oklahoma, Georgia,
Oklahoma.
Auburn, and my dark horse is West Virginia. That's
Okay.
West Virginia.
I just don't think West Virginia plays enough defense.
Yeah.
I think Will
That's why
Greer,
it's a
David
dark
Sills.
horse.
I'm leaning. I agree with Alabama, Clemson, and Washington. My three seed right now is Penn State, the Nittany Lions. I think Trace
I like
McSorley, Miles Sanders. I think they're recruiting well up in Happy Valley. I think James Franklin's a heck of a coach. I think with the cloud looming over Ohio State, I would put them like as one of my dark horses. I wouldn't call them a dark horse, but I mean I have them as a dark horse. The Stanford Cardinal as a dark horse. I think they have a couple big games.
Good.
I think if they beat Notre Dame and Washington, look out. And they play USC week 2. That's going to be huge for them. I think KJ Costello or Davis Mills, I think they can't lose at quarterback. And they have a really good line. And, of course, Bryce Love coming
baby.
back.
Yeah,
He's a
Love's
beast.
Yeah, Bryce Love is a beast.
So
He
good.
is a man. Yeah, I've got Alabama, number 1 seed, never bet against Saban. You know, you
Yep.
never do that. Then I got Clemson get in there, the closest thing to Alabama we've seen in the last probably 10
Dabo.
years. So with Dabo Swinney. So I think they'll get in, no matter who plays quarterback for them, either way. I've got Ohio State, honestly. I think Urban Meyer's going to be the coach. He'll probably get
I
suspended for
think
maybe a few games, but
Gene
I think
Smith is going to take the blame for that.
I think he's gonna come back and they'll be fine. And they're super talented, and they're gonna have a new QB, which I think is
that
honestly
Tate Martell? Is that
No,
the-
Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah,
Dwayne
I
Haskins
think
will play.
that I think he'll elevate
He's a
them.
monster.
And then I've got Washington. You know, they kind of took a step back last year after bursting onto the scene the year before. But I think Peterson's too good of a coach, and then
Jake
the
Browning
defense
back.
Yeah, Jake
That
Browning's
defense is
back.
really
The
good,
defense
too.
is going to be really good, really
They're
good.
recruiting well up there.
And but I'm with Bailey. I think Wisconsin's a team to look out for. Like talent wise, there's probably a lot of teams that are better than Wisconsin, but Wisconsin probably has the best coaching staff through and through, and the most consistent. And so, I just think they've got a pretty easy schedule for a big Power 5 team. I think if they can go 12-0, and then squeak one out against Ohio State or whoever they're playing in the Big Ten championship game, I think they
Committee
might
can't leave
squeak.
them out.
Yeah, I
No,
think they
they
might
just
squeak in at 4, but they have to have a lot of cards fall.
I
in
like
their
that
cards.
offensive line and that running back because they
Yeah.
can control the clock and they're really efficient on third down,
Mhm.
and I really like that. And that is
Honeybrooks
key.
good too.
Yeah, that's a key to win a big time game. It's third down. So I think they're going to be really good this year. I don't know if they can make it, but they very well could. That's just
Yep.
my thing.
Now, who do you guys think wins the college championship this year?
I said Alabama,
Bama.
Crimson Tide.
Yeah,
I just-
I'll
I'm going with Dabo. I like the Clemson
I-
Tigers this year.
Clemson could very well win it. I
think
am
they're
an Alabama
talented.
fan, so I
Yep.
do want them to win. So.
I mean, with Clemson, the big thing is quarterback play. Kelly Bryant or Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence was the number 1 player in the country. I like his game a lot, but Kelly Bryant,
I think
don't
Kelly
know.
Bryant starts right
I do
now.
too. I do
He
too.
might at the end of the season not start, but just right now experience.
T. Higgins,
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
think
Amari
experience.
Rogers.
That D line is so dominant. Dexter Lawrence and
Dexter Lawrence.
They
is
got
a
like one
man.
senior, 2 juniors, all could go like in the first round. In the
They also have a lot of good freshmen coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that defense is always going to be good.
Yep.
They do not have a tight end though, and what scares me. They've never
Yeah.
have, but they'll be fine.
I think you can get away with it in college. I mean,
Yeah.
you can
Especially what they run. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
you don't
fine.
even need a
Yeah.
tight end. All right, so we'll kind of take it back to the SEC. There's some really intriguing just storylines going on that we're gonna have to watch throughout the season. So I want to get y'all's take on some of the biggest SEC storylines this year and what you think of them.
I obviously want to talk about Tua Jalen right now. Tua obviously is the more talented quarterback, and he has the more tools to be a better quarterback. As just in the half he played at the national championship, he looked one way, then threw it exactly to the open receiver, and that's just something you can't really teach. You can, but it's hard just to actually do in a game, especially against Georgia, one of the best defenses. I think that Jalen Hurts has more experience, and he is the better runner. But at the same time, when they did stack the box in the national championship, he went like 3 for 7 for 21 yards and interception. You just can't have that in a big time game. It's not saying he's bad because he did go to 2 national championships. He won a national championship, and he got them there and only lost 2 games that he started. I think that I love Jalen Hurts, and I think he will stay there. And don't make a big deal of like him saying like on the media, some like, oh, the coaches were never there for me. That's not the case. I think that he just kind of was upset a little bit and kind of took it out on the media. I think he kind of backtracked a little bit, but Tua is the better quarterback. He will start, and I think that he could be a Heisman candidate this year. He's very good. He's so good.
Here's the thing about it. Yes, he's really talented, and he could. But we just watched him play one half of football.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that was a great half of football, and it was in the biggest stage in college football. Won him the game. But it's one half of football. I mean, we got to pump the brakes a little bit, I think. Because what's going to happen if Tua wins the job, because I think he will, but what's going to happen when he plays his first SEC game in a crazy atmosphere and he starts to struggle? He can't deal with the pressure. Are we going to bring back Jalen Hurts? Are we going to turn into a 2-quarterback system? So I think he's going to be good. I think we're hailing him as a savior too quickly. I think most people are.
I agree.
So I think we need to dial it back a little bit. But it's obvious that he's the more talented passer of the two.
I think that we need to keep Jalen Hurts because let's just say Tua's playing against Auburn or LSU. Like, he gets hurt, is out for a significant amount of games. You still have Jalen Hurts. So that's why I kind of want to keep him.
Well,
and I don't want him to leave.
It's not like you can cut him or leave him.
Do you think,
if I were Jalen Hurts, I'd leave.
Yeah, do you think
I don't blame
the loser of the battle leaves? Uses the new
if Tua loses, I think he leaves. Jalen, for some reason, I think he seems like a really, really good guy.
Is.
Just from what he said after the championship game, I think he would stay. But, you never know. And I wouldn't blame him either for whatever he did.
Yeah.
But I want to see this season how Georgia's defense is going to be. Yeah. I think that's going to be something that is a little underrated. Yes, they have a lot of talent coming in. But they lost 249 career starts from the defense last year. That is a lot of experience. Like, they're going to have a lot of talent coming in, but you just can't replace experience, obviously.
No,
and that's
not at all.
And that defense helped them so much last year.
It's kind of like, all the 5-star. If you are a 5-star athlete, you have all the talent in the world, but in an in-game situation, you have to know, like, okay, on the cover 3, you have to keep tracking back. And let's say in the national championship game when Tua did look off, the safety kind of went that way and went where the quarterback was looking and not like where the ball's gonna be thrown in the cover 2. Like, he didn't stay in his zone. It's just little stuff like that you gotta look at because all experience is everything.
Yeah, and it's just they're being touted so highly. We've got them going undefeated this year. It's like it's really hard to do that good if you have a shaky defense. Yeah. And they obviously have the talent and the coaching staff to do it. But we've seen plenty of talented and good coaching staffs not be able to work with a young defense, So we might see some lumps. I think there might be some cracks in this defense this year.
I'm leaning towards – I'm going to go off Georgia right now for a storyline. Running back. I mean, they love to run the football. They love to be a balanced pro-style offense. They lost Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, obviously. But obviously we got – DeAndre Swift, but who will?
I think he'll be really good.
He will. I think he's a great player. Who will be his backup? I mean, Elijah Holyfield. I mean, he's been in the news. He's huge. I mean, he looks the part, but I don't know.
So did Bo Scarborough.
Yes, Bo Scarborough looked the part, but
he was
true freshman. James Cook, Dalvin's brother, and then Zamir White, who's coming off a torn ACL in the high school. But I still think
they could obviously don't have to be like a workhorse running back situation. Like, it can be a committee, kind of like Alabama does. Like, you don't have to play this one player. So I'm not really worried about the running back situation because even if one person doesn't do good, they have 3 5-stars waiting to play. I just don't think
they'll be good.
I don't think. Don't stress over that.
Your backups are 5-stars. That's how you win national championship.
So who do you guys think the dark horses are in the SEC? I think you can kind of probably predict them just with what we've said already.
Mississippi State and South Carolina. But watch out for an A&M as well.
Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Florida.
Yeah. Go
Gator.
I think South Carolina, they might have I have Mississippi State, South Carolina as my 2 crushes in the SEC this year. I've got them both finishing in the second in the division. But I think South Carolina might honestly, if they get hot, they could end up with a pretty darn good record just because they have a little easier schedule. I think if they get Georgia out of the way in week 2, I think every game after that is winnable.
Oh yeah,
until Clemson, and if they're on a roll though, they could compete with Clemson. I don't know, but I think they get their hardest game, a conference game out of the way early. And so that will lead them to have a pretty easy schedule.
Look at Auburn last year. I mean, they weren't good to start off the season, but they got hot and they beat.
They had a really hard schedule in the rest of the year.
And I went to the playoffs.
Yeah,
they would have won that game.
Yep. But this Kerryon Johnson got hurt, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. But that's college football. I mean,
But for Mississippi State, for me, they're really, really talented because of Dan Mullen and what he gave
Yeah,
to them. And then Joe Moorhead, I really like Joe Moorhead.
I do too.
But they've got to
Great hire.
survive that Florida, Auburn, LSU, and Texas A&M 4-game stretch. And we said it earlier, if they can get out of that with just one loss or 0 losses, they're going to be looking really, really good.
Got Bob Shoop as the defensive coordinator too. So
Man, we all know his track record.
Do you think, all right, which coaches you think will get fired this season?
Derek Mason at Orgeron.
I do too.
I agree. We're on agreement there.
Yep, I agree.
Because, the SEC went through a purge last year.
Yeah,
they had a
and so
ton.
it's like there a lot of coaches that are just sitting down on the seat right
Yeah.
now. So it's still nice and
It's
cool.
because LSU did fire the OC this year and got a new it, and that's like this first steps
Yeah.
to hiring a head
Yeah.
coach or firing a head coach.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you got to blame the coordinators first, then the head coach. Then, this is the NFL, but then you go to the ownership.
Yeah, you look at Georgia. Kirby's obviously he's good.
He's safe.
Muschamp's good. Dan Mullins just got there. Missouri, I don't really know, but I don't think.
Barry Odom. I mean, that's a tough one.
Missouri
If
really
they
does.
struggle.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but Missouri does have a really good tight end.
That was random.
I
Then
know.
Kentucky, Bob Stoops, he maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that they care enough, honestly, over there about it. Tennessee, Pruitt just got there. Vandy. That's the only thing that I think could save Derek Mason's job. That Vandy just doesn't care enough about their football program, and they just keep him.
Thing is,
He needs
what,
a new stadium.
what do they care about? Like, they don't care about the new
They
stadium.
care about baseball.
their baseball team. I mean,
They got a decent basketball squad.
Yeah, but then then you look in the West.
There's
You got
Garland.
Saban will be there
You
until
got powerhouse.
they'll
Fire
bury him
Saban.
in Bryant Denny. And then
Okay.
Moorhead just got there. Malzahn, you never know with that fan base. If they lose 2 games in the first 6
Fire
weeks, they'll
Malzahn!
want to fire him.
he ain't going to Waffle House.
Jimbo just got there. Orgeron, we said. Then Ole Miss, Arkansas, 2 new guys.
They're not firing Matt,
They're not.
Matt Luke.
No.
Yeah.
So I think those are really just 2 guys by default.
One
We'll
more.
watch for Kentucky.
One more thing for the Tennessee fan: Garantano or Keller Chris.
Oh, Garantano. I think so. Just from hearing from some insiders that were looking at practice, I think he's got the
I heard
edge.
that. I heard that too.
I think just give the guy the reins, let him go through some growing pains,
Mm-hmm.
and just see what we got. I mean, nobody's really expecting too
I
much.
heard,
so.
that Garantano's getting the first string reps, and that's just key to everything because you want to have a chemistry, a rhythm with all the receivers, the running back, offensive line, whatever. And it's just the more reps a person gets, the better they're off. They're going to be like, obviously, throwing a situation with Alabama, that's, your first string defense, wherever you're playing with, that's not going to kind of throw you into the ringer and stuff. But I think Garantano's going to start. Maybe Garantano, it's his job to lose, and if he doesn't do good, Keller Chris can start, but I don't think Keller Chris is the day one starter.
No.
I do not
Keller
think.
Chris was a day one starter. He'd still be at Stanford.
Yep.
It's true. It's very true. So that's it for the college ranks. So now we will move on to the NFL next.
Yep. Be back.